Hey man, let's be honest. She hurt you, didn't she? Maybe not in a dramatic movie-like way, but in a slow, silent, emotionally brutal way. The kind that seeps into your thoughts when you're alone at night. You replay every conversation, every moment, every subtle sign you missed, as if somewhere in that loop there's an answer that could make the pain make sense. You tell yourself you've moved on, you're working out, you're keeping busy, you're focusing on yourself. But deep down, she still lingers. Not her face, not even her voice, but the feeling she gave you, the feeling of being seen, chosen, wanted. You're not obsessed with her, brother. You're obsessed with the version of yourself you became when she wanted you. That's what you can't let go of. Because when she came into your life, she awakened something. She made you feel alive, validated, powerful, maybe for the first time in years. Her attention made you believe you were enough. And when she took it away, it wasn't just rejection. It felt like a death. The death of that man you were when she loved you. That's why it hurts so much. You're not just losing her, you're losing the mirror she held up to your worth. That's the trap most men never see. You think you're addicted to her, but what you're truly addicted to is the version of you that she once reflected. It's not love, it's identity withdrawal. She became your emotional mirror, and now that she's gone, you don't recognize yourself. And here's the thing, women like her, the ones who leave emotional scars, they know exactly how to create that attachment. They give you just enough love to get inside your mind, and then they pull away to make you chase the memory of it. It's not always malicious, sometimes it's unconscious, but either way, the effect is the same. You start craving her presence like a drug. Every text, every touch, every glance, it's dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline all at once. That's why you can't stop checking her socials. That's why songs, scents, even random places bring her back into your thoughts. Your brain literally wired her into your reward system. You're not weak, man. You're chemically addicted. You mistook emotional intensity for love, and now you're trying to detox from her like she was oxygen. See, the human brain doesn't crave peace. It craves familiarity. Even pain can feel safe if it's predictable. That's why you keep circling back to her memory. It's not because she was the one. It's because your nervous system got used to her chaos. Her validation and withdrawal created emotional highs and lows that burn themselves into your biology. That cycle, affection, distance, confusion, is the perfect storm for obsession. It keeps you in a psychological loop where closure never arrives. You're addicted not to her presence, but to the uncertainty she created, the mystery, the tension, the inconsistency. It's intoxicating, it's trauma disguised as passion, and it's why even after she's gone, part of you still feels tethered to her ghost. But here's the brutal truth. The woman who hurt you isn't the same woman you fell for. The one you're obsessing over doesn't exist anymore. She was a projection, an illusion your mind built from fragments of her best moments. When she gave you attention, you filled in the rest with fantasy. You saw what you wanted to see, not what was real. That's what obsession is. Worshipping the potential of someone long after reality showed you otherwise. And it's painful, because deep down, you know it. You know she's not coming back as that person. Yet you hold on, because the illusion was safer than the emptiness you feel without it. But here's the truth, man. Letting go isn't about losing her. It's about freeing yourself from the story you told yourself about her. You've got to understand. She triggered something ancient in you. Every man has a deep psychological wound called the attachment wound. It's that part of you that fears abandonment, rejection, and emotional disconnection. When she hurt you, she didn't just reject your love, she reopened that wound. That's why it feels bigger than it should. You're not just mourning her, you're mourning every time you've ever felt unseen or unchosen in your life. That's what obsession really is. An emotional echo of all the times you were left behind. She just happened to be the one who brought that old pain to the surface. That's why moving on feels impossible, because it's not about her anymore, it's about you. And here's what's wild, the pain you feel is actually trying to heal you. It's your body begging you to stop outsourcing your validation, because as long as your self-worth depends on how she sees you, you'll keep reliving the same cycle with different faces. You'll keep attracting the same emotional patterns until you finally learn to sit in the silence without needing her to fill it. That silence you avoid, that's where your power is. It's where the man you were before her still lives, waiting to be reclaimed. But to reach him, you have to stop checking her page, stop replaying the memories, stop bargaining with ghosts. You have to detox from the emotional drug she represented, the high of being chosen. It's not easy, man, I know. The hardest part isn't losing her, it's losing the hope that she'll come back and make things right. That's why you stay stuck. You keep a small door open in your heart, just in case. You tell yourself you're over her, but deep down, you're waiting for her to realize her mistake. That's what keeps you trapped, the fantasy of closure. But here's the harsh truth. Closure doesn't come from her apology. It comes from your acceptance that you'll never get one. It comes from understanding that you don't need her to regret losing you for you to move on. The real revenge isn't her missing you, it's you outgrowing the need for her validation entirely. What you're going through isn't weakness, it's withdrawal from an emotional illusion. It takes strength to not text her. It takes strength to stop checking her stories. It takes strength to let your heart ache without numbing it with distractions. But that pain, if you face it fully, becomes transformation. Because one day you'll look back and realize, she didn't break you, she revealed you. She showed you where your worth was borrowed, instead of owned. She showed you how deeply you depended on external love to feel complete. And once you see that, you'll never unsee it. That awareness is what makes men unshakable. You'll reach a point, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, where you'll stop checking if she's watching your story. You'll stop caring who she's with. You'll stop trying to prove your worth through success or revenge, because you'll realize something profound. You don't need to win her back. You just need to win yourself back. That's what healing is, taking the love you gave her and pouring it back into the man who gave it so selflessly. And when that happens, when you finally stop needing her to see your value, that's when she'll feel it. Because silence, brother, silence from a man who has found peace after pain is louder than any words she'll ever hear. You see, the reason you still feel that pull toward her, even after everything she's done, is because pain has a memory, and your body still confuses it for connection. Every time you think of her, your brain fires the same chemical pattern it did when she was yours. It doesn't distinguish between love and heartbreak. It only remembers intensity. And she was intense, wasn't she? Her smile, her silence, her unpredictability, it all burned a mark into your emotional circuitry. That's why you can't forget her. You're not missing her. You're missing the chemical rush that her presence created in your system. It's the same reason addicts relapse, not because they love the poison, but because their body still craves the chaos that came with it. That's what she became to you. A beautiful kind of chaos that once made you feel alive. But here's the paradox, man. The very thing that made you feel alive is what's now draining your life force. That's what toxic attachments do. They don't destroy you all at once. They slowly dissolve your peace. You start thinking less clearly, sleeping less deeply, and living more inside your head than your reality. You keep waiting for her to remember what she lost, but she's moved on to feeding her ego with someone else's attention. And you're left holding on to the ghost of something that was never real to begin with. That's the moment every man faces. The moment he realizes that no amount of overthinking will bring clarity, and no amount of caring will bring her back. Only detachment will. Only when you emotionally unhook yourself from her spell do you begin to breathe again. Here's the part most men don't want to face. She didn't love you in the way you loved her. And that's not bitterness, it's truth. You loved from depth. She loved from convenience. You saw forever. She saw a moment. You built castles in your mind, while she built exits in hers. That's why she could walk away so easily. She was never all in. You were. And when you give your all to someone who is only half present, you'll always feel empty. But that emptiness isn't your weakness. It's proof of your capacity to love. You've got a rare heart, man. One that doesn't do, almost. You give completely. And that's something to protect, not waste on those who don't value it. Here's where everything starts to turn, man. The part most men never get to experience because they give up too soon. When you've gone silent long enough, when you've genuinely detached and stopped orbiting around her emotional gravity, something starts happening that she never expected. She begins to feel what you once felt. The same emptiness she left you with begins to visit her in moments she can't predict. Late at night when no one's texting her, early mornings when the world is quiet, or when she scrolls through old photos and realizes that every man she entertains now only reminds her of what she lost with you. It's not your face she misses, it's the emotional safety that came with your presence. The way she could be messy, dramatic, and chaotic, and you still anchored her with your calmness. That's what women always realize too late. They don't miss the man they left. They miss the peace they destroyed. But by the time that realization hits, it's already too late. You've changed. You're no longer the same man who would have dropped everything to respond to her message, to forgive her, to fix what she broke. You've become emotionally untouchable, not because you've hardened, but because you've awakened. You finally understand that love without respect is just manipulation. That attention without consistency is worthless. That affection without loyalty is a lie dressed in warmth. You've seen her patterns clearly now, the way she needs constant stimulation, the way she thrives on drama, the way she confuses excitement with connection. And because you've outgrown that, you're not even angry anymore, you just see through it. That's real power, not revenge, not ego, but emotional clarity. You no longer crave her chaos because you've built peace inside yourself. And here's the thing she'll never admit. Your calmness now terrifies her. When she reaches out and you don't respond, or when she posts something, hoping you'll take the bait and you stay silent, she starts spiraling internally. Because silence from a man she once emotionally controlled is her greatest fear. It reminds her that she never had real power, only the illusion of it. She begins to question her own worth because your detachment exposes the truth she's been avoiding. She was only powerful when you were reacting. That's why silence hits women so hard. It forces them to confront who they really are when there's no man feeding their ego. And when your absence stops being punishment and starts being peace, that's when she truly loses you. But let's talk about you, because this isn't about her anymore. This is about your rebirth. What most men don't understand is that the woman who hurt them was never the end of their story. She was the breaking point that forced transformation. Pain is the universe's most brutal teacher, but also its most honest one. Through that heartbreak, you've learned boundaries. You've learned emotional discipline. You've learned to stop seeking softness in those who thrive on control. You've discovered the sacred space between reacting and responding, and that's where your masculinity matures. Now, when someone tries to trigger you, you don't fight for control. You remain in control. You've become the observer, not the participant. That's what masculine peace truly is. The ability to stand still in the middle of emotional storms without being pulled in. And that, brother, is exactly what will drive her insane. Because now she can feel that you've detached not just physically, but energetically. You're no longer emotionally available for her games, and that absence feels like a vacuum. Women feel energy before they feel emotion, and when yours shifts, it creates a ripple. She starts to sense that your life is moving on without her, that your silence isn't filled with longing anymore, but peace. That peace is haunting, because now the roles have reversed. She's the one wondering if you think of her. She's the one stalking your social media, analyzing your posts, feeling the sting of being forgotten. That's the irony of emotional maturity. The moment you stop needing closure is the moment she starts craving it, but you'll never give it to her, not because you're cruel, but because you've transcended the entire game. Eventually, there comes a day when you wake up and realize she's just another part of your story, not the climax, not the heartbreak, just a chapter that taught you everything you needed to know about love, attachment, and control. You'll think of her occasionally, but without pain. You'll feel gratitude, not grief. You'll understand that she didn't ruin your ability to love. She refined it. She forced you to stop loving recklessly and start loving consciously. She taught you that peace is more valuable than passion, that solitude isn't loneliness, and that walking away is sometimes the purest form of self-respect. You'll start moving through life differently, calmer, sharper, more selective. You'll attract better people, not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you choose. But here's the most beautiful part. One day, she'll see you again. Maybe in person, maybe online, and she won't recognize you. You'll look the same, but your energy will be unrecognizable. You'll speak slower, move differently, carry yourself with a stillness that only comes from surviving emotional chaos. she'll see that you're no longer seeking her attention, and it'll sting her ego in a way you'll never fully understand, because deep down she'll realize she didn't just lose a man, she lost her emotional home, and in that moment, she'll understand the magnitude of her mistake. But by then, you'll be so far gone emotionally that her regret won't even register as validation. It'll just feel irrelevant. You'll notice something powerful once that day comes. The same woman who once made you doubt your worth now becomes proof of your growth. Her presence no longer disrupts your peace. Her absence no longer hurts. Her memory no longer controls you. That's how you know you've healed, when the emotional reaction is gone. Because healing isn't about forgetting what happened, it's about remembering it without the sting. It's about finally being able to look at the lesson without reliving the pain. And when you get there, you'll realize that what once broke you was actually shaping you into the man you were meant to be. The one who leads, not follows. The one who loves without losing himself. The one who no longer confuses emotional chaos for chemistry. So no, you're not obsessed with her anymore. You're awakening from the illusion she represented. She was never the love of your life. She was the mirror that showed you everything you needed to fix. The addiction was never about her. It was about escaping yourself. You wanted her to fill the void that only self-awareness could fill. And now that you've reclaimed your energy, that void is gone. What remains is a man who knows his value without needing validation. Who understands that detachment isn't indifference, it's mastery. You've learned that silence can heal louder than words, that absence can teach louder than arguments, and that walking away can be the loudest "I love myself" you'll ever say. So here's the truth, man. The obsession fades the moment you stop running from your pain and start walking through it. The moment you realize she wasn't your loss, she was your awakening. You don't heal by forgetting her, you heal by remembering yourself. And once you do, the world opens up again. You start to laugh differently, move differently, love differently. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to prove a point, but because peace looks good on you. And that's when you truly win. Not when she comes back, not when she regrets it, but when her name no longer has power over your emotions. That's when obsession dies and freedom begins. The moment you truly let go, something subtle yet powerful happens. Your mind clears. You start noticing how much space she once occupied in your thoughts, and how peaceful that silence feels now. It's like a storm that finally passes after weeks of chaos. Everything is still, the air feels fresh, and you can finally breathe again. For the first time in months, you're no longer trying to prove anything to her or yourself. You stop wondering whether she misses you or whether she's moved on. You stop playing imaginary scenarios in your head about what could have been. The obsession dies, not because she changed, but because you did. You evolved. You saw through the illusion. You realized that no one who genuinely loves you would ever make you feel like you had to compete for their affection. And once that truth settles in, there's no going back to who you were before. Now, your silence isn't a tactic, it's a lifestyle. You're not ignoring her to get a reaction anymore. You're simply at peace. There's a massive difference between pretending not to care and actually not caring. Pretending is loud, peace is quiet. Pretending is rooted in hope. Peace is rooted in acceptance. That's why she can feel the shift, because this time, your detachment isn't emotional manipulation, it's self-preservation. You're not trying to make her chase you anymore. You're simply unavailable for anything that doesn't respect your peace. And that energy, that grounded, unbothered presence, becomes more powerful than any words or gestures you could ever use. It's the kind of energy that makes her rethink every moment she took you for granted. This is the part where she starts circling back emotionally, though she'll never admit it. You'll notice small signs, indirect ones. Maybe a random like on an old post, maybe a vague story that sounds like a message to you, maybe a mutual friend saying, "She asked about you." These are all signs that her ego is restless. She's trying to test whether she still has access to your attention, whether she still has a space in your heart, but you won't fall for it this time. You won't take the bait, not because you're angry, but because you've already made peace with the loss. You no longer seek validation from her reaction. You find satisfaction in your restraint. Every time you don't respond, you're reminding yourself that you've grown beyond the need for closure. And that calmness, that self-control, is what unsettles her the most. It's ironic, isn't it? The same woman who once ignored your messages now checks her phone, hoping for yours. The same one who made you feel invisible now wonders if you've truly forgotten her. Because deep down, she always assumed you'd be there, waiting, hoping, forgiving. But when a man truly heals, he becomes unpredictable. He stops reacting the way she expects. That unpredictability shakes her entire sense of control, and for the first time, she realizes that maybe she wasn't as irreplaceable as she believed. That's when regret starts to creep in. Not because she loves you again, but because losing your energy means losing the emotional mirror that made her feel special. You were her source of validation, and now that source has gone quiet. That silence is deafening. But don't misunderstand, man. Her regret doesn't mean she's changed. It just means her comfort was disrupted. That's the cycle of emotional control. She misses not you, but the power she had over you, the certainty of your attention, the way she could text you at any hour and know you'd reply. And now that she's lost it, she's chasing the feeling of being desired again. Don't fall for that illusion. It's not love, it's ego hunger. The woman who once made you doubt yourself will come back with softness, nostalgia, or even vulnerability. But it's all part of the same cycle. She'll tell you she misses you. She'll bring up the good times. She'll try to rewrite history. But you'll recognize it now for what it is, emotional bait. And instead of biting, you'll simply smile and walk away. Because you've learned that peace is more intoxicating than validation ever was. You'll notice that, after this, life starts expanding again. New opportunities, new people, new energy. It all begins to flow into your space, the moment you stop obsessing over what left. That's the thing about emotional energy. When you hold on to something toxic, nothing new can enter. But the moment you let go, everything starts aligning. The same silence that once haunted you now becomes sacred. You find joy in solitude, purpose in self-improvement, beauty in quiet moments. You start realizing that your energy is your most valuable currency, and you're done spending it recklessly. You begin to understand that emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings, but owning them. You no longer chase closure or apologies, you simply close the chapter yourself. And that act of emotional sovereignty makes you magnetic in ways you never were before. Here's the beauty of it. Once you reach this point, you stop attracting emotionally chaotic women altogether. Your energy shifts so profoundly that drama no longer excites you. You can feel manipulation from a mile away. You start valuing consistency over chemistry, effort over excitement, peace over passion. You begin to see relationships differently, not as something to complete you, but as something to complement your already complete self. That's the evolution heartbreak brings. It doesn't just make you stronger, it refines your taste in love. You'll start noticing women who move differently, women with self-awareness, empathy, and emotional depth. And because you've healed, you won't be intimidated by calmness anymore. You'll be drawn to it. Meanwhile, she'll still be repeating old patterns, chasing attention, seeking validation, confusing temporary excitement for emotional depth. And every time it fails, she'll think of you. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real. You gave her something most men don't. Stability, presence, authenticity. She'll start comparing every new guy to you, even if she won't admit it. Because deep down, she knows she didn't lose just a man. She lost a mirror that reflected the best version of herself. And as much as she'll try to replicate that feeling, she won't find it again. Because peace isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you earn through inner growth. And you, man, have earned it. This is where everything comes full circle. You no longer need her to regret losing you. You don't need her to come back. You don't even need her to remember you. Because you've realized that the love you gave wasn't wasted. It was practice for the love you'll give yourself. Every ounce of patience, empathy, and devotion you once poured into her now belongs to you. You've learned to listen to your intuition, to protect your energy, to walk away when something costs you your peace. That's what makes you powerful, not that you don't feel, but that you no longer cling. You've stopped looking backward, because everything you were searching for in her you found within yourself. And here's the poetic part. The moment you truly reach peace is the same moment she starts falling apart. Not because you wanted revenge, but because that's the law of emotional energy. What you chase, you repel. What you accept, you attract. You no longer carry resentment, and that absence of bitterness radiates strength. She'll feel it, not consciously, but energetically. The universe always balances itself. The pain she caused you becomes her lesson, and your healing becomes her mirror. And that's when you'll understand, she was never your punishment, and you were never her victim. You were each other's teachers, but while she kept repeating the same class, you graduated. You learned the art of letting go, and that's the real secret most men never master. You'll notice something strange about peace, man. It's addictive. Once you've tasted it, you can't go back to noise. You'll look at your old texts, the long emotional exchanges, the mental overthinking, and wonder how you ever lived like that. You'll realize that the version of you who begged for her attention was operating from lack, not love. You were chasing validation because you hadn't yet built identity, but now you've built it brick by brick, through pain, through silence, through rebuilding your focus. You've replaced obsession with purpose, replaced neediness with self-worth, replaced anxiety with clarity. That's why peace feels so powerful, because it's not something she gave you, it's something she couldn't take away. You created it from within, and that makes it unshakable. Meanwhile, her world begins to crack in the places she once thought were stable. The men who came after you won't stay, because they're drawn to her mask, not her depth. She'll start to see the pattern, the repetition, the highs that burn out too quickly, the texts that feel hollow, the connections that never feel like home. She'll remember how your energy used to feel, solid, steady, grounded. She'll compare it to the temporary affection of the men she entertains now, and every comparison will end the same. They don't make her feel safe, because you weren't just another man, you were her mirror of stability. You gave her structure in a world built on instability. And once she experiences that kind of grounded presence, she'll spend years trying to replicate it, but never quite finding it again. And here's what's wild, you won't even be trying to prove a point. You'll be living your life, moving differently, focused on your goals, building something real. You'll post a photo, smiling genuinely, not as bait, but as reflection. That's when it'll hit her, because women can sense when a man's happiness no longer revolves around them. She'll feel your detachment before she even sees it. It's in the energy you carry, the way you no longer try to impress, the way you no longer seek reaction, the way your silence has confidence instead of hurt. She'll see the life she could have had if she hadn't tried to play games with a man who was ready to give her the world. That's when regret stops being emotional. It becomes spiritual. She'll realize she didn't just lose a man, she lost divine balance in her life. But you won't hold bitterness toward her. That's the difference between a healed man and a wounded one. You'll wish her peace, not out of pity, but out of understanding. Because now you see that she didn't know better. She acted from fear, from ego, from insecurity. She wasn't trying to destroy you, she was trying to fill her own emptiness. And that's the great tragedy of broken love. Two people trying to complete each other when they both needed to heal first. You've done your healing now, you've faced the darkness, you've sat alone in silence long enough to learn the sound of your own soul. That's why you can forgive her, not because she deserves it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, it means release. And it's only when you release her completely that the universe begins to send you something better. Not as a reward, but as alignment. Because life doesn't give peace to men who chase chaos, it gives peace to men who protect their energy. You'll start noticing new people showing up, calmer, more grounded, more emotionally intelligent. They'll match your new energy, not your old pain. You'll realize that your standards have evolved. You no longer fall for surface-level charm or shallow affection. You've become immune to manipulation because you recognize peace as your baseline. You'll find that relationships now feel lighter, more fluid, more authentic. Because you no longer need them to fill a void. You bring completeness to the table, and that changes everything. But here's what will always linger in the background. She'll still think of you. Maybe not every day, but often enough to remember what she lost. It'll happen in quiet moments when she's alone with her thoughts, when the mask of confidence fades. She'll wonder if you still think of her, if you've truly moved on, if you ever check her page like she checks yours. And every time she wonders, the silence she once used as a weapon will echo back at her. That's poetic justice. The silence she used to punish you now becomes the silence that torments her. Because silence is neutral until it's felt from the other side. And now she's the one wondering, analyzing, hoping, all while you live free from the cycle. That's what emotional mastery looks like. Peace that once felt impossible now feels permanent. And the best part, you'll realize you don't even need closure, because the story already closed itself. The ending wasn't dramatic, it was silent. There was no grand apology, no emotional reunion, no last goodbye, just a slow fading of energy, and then nothing. That's the most powerful ending there is, because silence forces reflection, and reflection forces growth. You didn't need her to tell you she was wrong. You learned to let the universe handle that. Life always balances the scales in ways words never could. You found your closure, not in her remorse, but in your rebirth. And that's a peace no one can disturb. So, when you look back on it all, the sleepless nights, the overthinking, the heartbreak, you'll realize it wasn't suffering, it was transformation. Pain is a brutal sculptor. It carves away everything that isn't real. It strips you bare, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to rebuild with intention. That's why heartbreak hurts so deeply. It's the death of your illusion. But on the other side of it, there's something sacred, a stronger version of you. The man who no longer chases, no longer pleads, no longer breaks himself to fix others. You've turned pain into power, confusion into clarity, loss into liberation. And from that place, everything you attract will match your strength, not your wounds. One day, someone new will walk into your life, and she won't remind you of her. She won't trigger you, test you, or confuse you. She'll bring peace, not questions. And when she does, you'll realize why everything had to happen the way it did. You had to lose the wrong one to recognize the right one. You had to go through emotional chaos to learn what calm feels like. You had to love deeply, lose painfully, and rise quietly. Because that's the only way a man learns emotional depth, not by avoiding pain, but by surviving it. The man you've become would have never existed without the woman who broke you. That's the irony of it all. She thought she was ending you, but she was initiating you. So now, when you think of her, if you ever do, smile. Not with bitterness, not with sadness, but with gratitude. Because she unknowingly handed you your greatest gift yourself. Through her betrayal, you found your worth. Through her silence, you found your strength. Through her loss, you found your peace. You no longer look for love that feels like fire. You look for love that feels like home. And that man is how you win. Not by proving her wrong, not by showing her what she missed, but by becoming someone she'll never get to experience again. A man who's calm, centered, and untouchable. That's the quiet victory. That's the lesson behind every heartbreak. Not every loss is punishment. Some are purification. You didn't lose her. You lost the version of yourself that needed her. And that's the greatest freedom there is.